This week, Donald Trump lost a big national election for the very first time, and he's reacting in a wildly dangerous fashion, launching a systematic assault on every independent source of authority outside himself, his associates, and supporters. From the doctored video that started on a conspiracy website that White House Press Secretary Sarah Huckabee Sanders tweeted out to attack a reporter, to the baseless accusations against the electoral system to stop people from counting votes, to a blatant attack on the Justice Department, firing Jeff Sessions and putting in his lackey, Matthew Whitaker, Donald Trump right now is acting like a man who is cornered and dangerous. Let's bring the senior advisor and national spokesperson for Move On, Karine Jean-Pierre, and former Republican Congressman David Jolly of Florida. David, let me start with you. I mean, there are many weeks in which the president acts in a strange and unhinged fashion. It's just that the sort of assaults on these basic pillars of kind of liberal democracy this week seem extremely acute. What do you make of it?
Yeah, I think we saw in that first day after the election in that press conference, is this a president who's emboldened, who has convinced himself that Tuesday gave him a mandate and he won? Or is this a president who is in panic mode? And I think as each day passes, this appears to be a president in panic mode. From his interaction with Jim Acosta, from his comments at the press conference, to what we saw on the White House lawn today, frankly, to the firing of Jeff Sessions, to what we're seeing with Matt Whitaker. This is a president, I think, that whether they won or lost on Tuesday, this is a barn burner for him now. And we're seeing it even as he engages in the election in Florida. I expect he'll engage in the recount or the election in Arizona. This is a president who is now going to go full throttle, and it will take us time to figure out exactly what his motivation is.
Karine, I saw that Move On was part of a coalition of groups that had protests yesterday, a lot of protests, widespread and well-attended across the country, about the firing of Jeff Sessions and the independence of the judiciary. Why did you press the button? What caused you to break the glass?
He crossed that red line, which was firing Jeff Sessions. And not only that, putting in Matt Whitaker, who is clearly a sycophant, a loyalist, and who has said that he's not going to recuse himself, which is clearly why he was chosen, but has said that there was no collusion, who doesn't believe in the Mueller investigation. And that was the red line for us. Like, we have one thing, Chris, is we've been really doing this for a long time, getting ready for this moment. We had more than 400,000 people sign up months ago with over 1,000 events all across the country. And we were just waiting because we know what Donald Trump is going to do. He's very predictable and unpredictable in the same way. And he crossed that line, and we launched it. And we had about 1,000 events across the country with well over 100,000 people showing up. And people are speaking their minds. They're not tired, even though we had this election. Yeah. They're ready. And that's one of the reasons people went out to vote. And we saw this massive blue wave because people wanted to make sure that we had a check on this administration.
David, how dangerous? I'm always of two minds about the president's tweets, right? At one level, it's like, this is horrifying. The other is he's the guy at the bar, yet talking to the television. He just happens to be the president. Right. But to your mind, how dangerous is the undermining of the electoral system that he and, frankly, Marco Rubio and others in the Republican Party seem engaged in down in Florida?
Hey, Chris, thank you for that question, because it's very subtle, and here's why it's so important that we have this conversation. As Donald Trump and Marco Rubio and Rick Scott allege fraud, understand what's happening. They are taking legitimate concerns about timeliness, legitimate concerns and questions about competence of supervisors of elections, and they are conflating that with allegations of criminal fraud for which they have absolutely no evidence. Exactly. And I would say to Donald Trump and to Rick Scott and Marco Rubio tonight, if you have evidence of fraud, put up or shut up, because what you're doing right now is undermining what is a fair counting of not a recount, a fair counting of every ballot that has been cast. And this is the problem, and this is the Trumpian, the Trump element within the Republican Party. What we saw from Rick Scott last night was disgusting. It was a reflection of how Donald Trump has turned this Republican Party, and I believe has turned Marco Rubio and Rick Scott at the same time.
What is your theory, Karine, about how to provide restraint on the president's actions in anti-democratic fashion at this very perilous moment?
I think we need to. I think the beauty about what happened on Tuesday is that it changed the win that we had on winning back the House and other wins as well across the country. Is that now we have a check on this administration, and also it will change the trajectory of this of Trump's presidency, and that's what's important. And we just have to continue to push Congress and continue to let them know that we have their back and that they need to be an oversight on this president, and also they need to just do their constitutional duty. And there's so much more fight to be had. 2 months is like 6 years away. And so we have to continue to push and be out there and continue to fight.
Yeah, that gap between the election and the actual vesting of power is a perilous one that we're in right now. And that's a lot of people concerned about what happens in that gap, particularly the president acting the way he is. Karine Jean-Pierre and David Jolly, thank you both. Hey there, I'm Chris Hayes from MSNBC. Thanks for watching MSNBC on YouTube. If you want to keep up to date with the videos we're putting out, you can click subscribe just below me or click over on this list to see lots of other great videos.